Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Image Bearers with Lacey Connor. That's me. All right, guys, we have a fantastic person, one of my wonderful friends. Everyone, welcome Sage. Hello, Sage.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast because, like I've told you several times, but I'm gonna let the audience know. I thought you were really cool at church, and I saw you
Thank
several
you.
times.
Thank you.
You would come in just being like one thing, you drop your kids off and then go right into like service and always be like, hi, and be like, oh, hi. And then when I met you at mom's, you sat at my table at mom's group. You said this is so funny. You sat at a table at mom's group, and then you seemed like, and then you talk. I've never heard you really like talk, and then you talk. I was like, oh my god, she does seem nice. And I honestly do believe like it was a God thing because like when I did greeting and stuff, I'd be like, God, she seems really cool. I would like to talk to her, and she seems like she like has a story and stuff. And I was like, I really wish she would be on my podcast, which is so weird
Yeah.
because and then. You sat down at mom. Once I walked into mom's group and I saw you were there, and I was like, "Oh my god, there she is! What's her name?" And then you sat down, and we had, like we had like icebreaker question and stuff. And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool!" Like the Lord like works in mysterious ways. I would have never thought that. Like I knew you were a mom, but I didn't think you were going to join like the mom's group we had.
Right.
And then you look at that.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And then now, here we are now, you're on podcast. So Lord does
Yes.
answer questions. I mean,
Yes.
not questions, prayers.
Yes, for sure.
Right, Sage? All right, Sage, tell us about yourself.
So I am 34. I
Go ahead,
um,
girlfriend, whatever you want to tell us.
I moved to Indianapolis. I'm originally from Evansville, so
Mhm.
grew up there. And I moved here in 2020. I took a job with the Department of Corrections as a parole officer. I still work for the Department of Corrections, just do something different now. Kind
Mhm.
of moved around a lot. So
But you have you always liked crime?
no, it's really
Or
weird.
the justice system?
Um, not exactly, but like my dad is an attorney, so
Okay.
there was always kind of some interest there. Um, but like law school didn't really just wasn't on my path, I guess.
All right.
Initially, though, when I graduated high school, I went straight to beauty school and was an esthetician. I still am a licensed esthetician. I just don't practice anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
that's handy for you, though.
yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Good discounts. And I still love
Oh,
that.
yeah, you get the
Yeah.
discounts
I
still.
still love it. It's just I had kids and I kind of felt like it was time to, I guess, go to school, get a
Right.
like degree. And actually when COVID hit, I was really glad that I had the degree I had because so many people in the beauty industry didn't have a job.
Mhm.
But I did. So they
Right.
made us work the whole time during COVID. So
I mean, which is nice. That's so true. It
yeah.
makes sense why your makeup looks good
Oh,
all the
thank
time
you.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of practice.
Right. Well, you did a good job, girl.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's so you said like how that changed from being an esthetician to like what brought you to what you do?
So I kind of had no direction at all. I just knew that aesthetics wasn't really working out for me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to college. So I just started out taking like basic courses. And then initially I tried social working,
Mhm.
went to a few of those classes. I was like, I can't. This is not for me.
All right, same here. I did the
Yeah.
exact same thing, and I was like, I don't want this. I
Yeah.
thought I did, but no, this is not my calling.
Yeah, well, I was really interested in like the psychology part of it,
Mhm.
which still kind of fascinates me, but I don't really remember like why I picked criminal justice, but I just did and I loved it. And I just
Right.
like went full force with it.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it now, but when you first told me, I was like, oh, interesting. Because I could see definitely an esthetician because you're great with your makeup.
Thank
You
you.
can look at, but I was like, oh, but I could also see you being that like, like stickler kind of. I see both ways.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely like I'm kind of well-rounded, I guess.
Right.
Different
There's nothing
different
wrong with
sides
that.
to
It's
me.
good to be
Yeah.
all rounded. Yeah. You
Yeah.
got dimensions.
Yes.
You got layers. You're like
Yes.
an onion.
Different layers.
You
Yeah.
got different layers.
But yeah, I still kind of so I went after I graduated with my bachelor's.
Mhm.
I went back for my master's degree, and my master's is in forensic psychology. So I kind of combined my interest
Ooh.
with psychology still.
Uh-huh.
And we took some really interesting classes. One called psychopathology. It was like my favorite. It was just like listening to basically like serial killers and people who are kind of like mentally ill in that field. Just like, um, I guess it was just like them. You would listen to them. So I don't know if it's like documentaries or whatever you
Yeah.
call it, but you would just listen to the audio and we would do different like projects with it. I loved it. It was so fascinating.
I bet so. That is cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's cool. That is cool. Do you like crime podcast things or any kind of like crime stuff like that?
All the shows I watch are pretty much like that.
Crime? Well,
Yeah.
then that makes sense then. So did you always like crime stuff even when you were in like beauty school, or are you kind of like interested in stuff like that?
A little bit, but not as much as I am now.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
now it's your life plus but that seems so cool. That's very like Criminal Minds of you.
Yeah. And I
Right?
love Criminal Minds.
I know,
Yeah.
right? I used to love I mean, now it's got me nervous, like, when Zach leaves. I watched way too much Criminal Minds growing up, and now I'm like, I'm afraid someone's gonna break in my house, someone's gonna murder me some crazy way. But I blame it all on Criminal Minds, but it is very interesting, like, the human brain
Yeah.
and, like, what people do. I mean, it's very sad, but it's
Yeah.
also, like
No, it's interesting. And then like people's brains who are like mentally ill, they actually look different. Like if you would image like your brain next to theirs,
Uh-huh.
totally different.
Right.
So I was fascinated by that too.
Right? That's so it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting. I guess it's a more sadder version of what this podcast is, where I hear people's like good stories where they're
Mhm.
like, 'cause most people I feel like when I've watched crime stuff, it's like they had most of the time had like a bad upbringing or something, and then their brain had to like adapt to it, and that's why it
Yeah.
became. Where ours, I guess, is more redemptive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
before we get in your story, I'm gonna say a little prayer,
Okay.
and then we'll get to know you more. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Although it is very hot, Lord, we thank you for air conditioning. We thank you that we are able to be here. Thank everybody that is in this room for their gifts, for their stories, Lord. You know each one of them. You've made all of them. Lord, I pray just be with the person today that is just down, just feeling like they are in the valley right now. Lord, remind them that in the valley there's also flowers and that things are made in there that will change their life, Lord. Help them to know you are with them, Lord, and that through you all things are possible. May they be content in the rich and in the poor. May you just guide them, Lord, and may they surrender their hardships to you, Lord. May they not hold on to them, but know that your yoke is easy and your burden is light, Lord. Just guide them, be with them, and may your will be done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, Miss Sage, you once you did write to me on Instagram saying that you wanted to be on it. So I was like, oh my God, I love this even more because like I said, you and like the Lord answered prayers and I didn't have to like I mean, I was already gonna ask you, but I was gonna wait for our friendship to blossom a little bit more and then hit you with it. But then you hit me with it and I was like, okay, I ain't mad about this.
Yeah, well, they kind of put me on the spot also at Rooted, my Rooted graduation.
Right?
Yeah, I was like, what?
And you're like, I guess the Lord's trying to get me to tell my story. So
Yeah.
let's do it in bigger
Yeah.
scheme and stuff. And I guess this time we didn't hit you with it like you chose to, but I'm very pumped.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, we see who you are now and stuff, but with hardships, like I said in the prayer, like with hardships, the Lord refines us more in the image of him. And that's where we become more of his character, more sympathetic, more self-control, more joy, more peace, all the, like the fruits of the spirit.
Yeah.
But we all have a story. And it's so crazy. I was telling someone that asked me what the podcast was. And normally, I mean, it is to, glorify God in people's stories. But
Sure.
I think honestly, when I listen to these podcasts, it's, can you trust the Lord in this? What would you say? Can you trust the Lord?
Yes, but I will say that even still with my faith as like strong as it is,
Mhm.
there have been little things that have come up where there was like one instance where I was really disappointed in myself and how much I doubted God. I just freaked out.
Mhm.
But then the last time that I had kind of something happen, like a health scare,
Mhm.
I actually was really, really impressed with myself with how much I was like, I had grown from that experience. Cause when you get disappointed, like I prayed about that. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that I doubted you. Like you always come through for me. I'm so sorry. Like, please help me grow in this area,
Mhm.
So the next time it happened, I was like, okay, like I was just talking to God, like, I'm afraid, I'm terrified, but I trust you. Like, may your will be done.
Yeah.
So, and I did so much better, and it turned out to be fine. But yeah,
Right.
it's hard. I think like in the waiting is the hardest for me.
Right. That
I
waiting.
have a little bit of like control tendencies. Oh, they used to be horrible. Now they're like, I rate them like a 5, you know?
Right. On a scale of 1 to 10,
Yes,
it's a
just like
5
a
now.
5.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. That's big improvement.
Yes.
5 is a good area to be with.
I think so.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of medium. You know, there's always room for improvement.
Right.
That's how I feel. But
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Where do you like? You said now that you're patient. You're a 5, scoring a 5.
Yeah.
But you didn't just naturally do that. What is something you went through to get you in that piece?
Definitely my battle with cancer.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it started in the end of 2023. I
Really?
went to just a regular gynecologist appointment,
Right.
and they were doing the breast exam, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm like,
You're like, I don't know, what is
"Yeah."
it?
I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm sorry," and she was like, "Here," and and I was like, "Oh,
Right.
and I've always kind of been an intuitive person,
Mhm.
and I just knew that something was wrong,
Yeah.
and they were trying to calm me down, and
Right.
but I immediately just broke down. I was like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like something's wrong because I've never had this before. Like, you kind of know yourself, you know
Yeah.
your body. So she was like, I want to do some imaging, just to be on the safe side.
Right.
Okay. Well, then I had to wait. That's another thing with the waiting with
Any
medical
kind of
tests.
medical stuff.
Yeah, you
Uh-huh.
can do it like right then. It's got to
Right.
be, well, we'll schedule you in a week or whatever. So I had to wait. So went in for the additional imaging. And it was still at my gynecologist's office at that point. They
Yeah.
had some like tools and machines and stuff they could do there. And so the girl was just kind of looking around, and I just knew that she saw something that
Right.
was not good. But she wasn't really saying a lot to me, which I didn't like. I'm a very straight shooter. So if something's wrong, like, let me
You're like,
know.
"Tell me."
Let me know what I'm looking at.
Right.
Just, let me know.
Yeah.
So I guess she contacted the radiologist. The radiologist didn't like it either. They're like, we need you to do a biopsy. I'm like, okay,
Right.
So I was just not really happy, like I said, with the way that she handled it. She just didn't say a lot. I felt really in the dark. So I called my friend who she has the BRCA2 gene.
Mhm.
So she has a lot of experience with that. And she was like, I need you to call this specialist. And so I called, got in there, and her name's Dr. Giblin, and she's phenomenal.
Quality.
I mean, she is a straight shooter, though. I mean, she's going to give it to you
Right.
straight, but I needed that. I was panicked. So they got me in as soon as possible. I think I maybe had to wait just a few days.
That's not bad at
No.
all.
It was not for her because she's super busy. So I went there, and I actually kind of just told her what was going on, and she's like, I'm going to show you everything right here on this machine.
Yeah.
So she showed it to me, and it looked weird. The lump, it had all different kinds of irregular
Mhm.
edges. It was kind of scary looking.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm just going to keep it real with you. She's like, I can't confirm or deny anything until we do this biopsy. She's like, but I think you have cancer. She's like, I'm going to prepare you for that.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like,
Right. Right. Just like,
yeah. And my friend came with me.
Oh,
Her
that's nice.
face turned bright red.
uh-huh.
It was just, yeah. So, had to wait for the biopsy. There was
Right.
another
Right.
thing. And this was all around Christmas.
Oh no.
So I was able to get in for the biopsy. That took, I think, about a week or so to get the results back. So I'm just waiting. So I had to go through Christmas pretty much waiting.
Right. Knowing it might be, you might have cancer, you might not. And
Yep.
it hits you with that. And the whole time, when anyone says anything like that, you're going to just be like, oh Lord.
Well, and then you're trying to be jolly for the kids, and
Right.
you don't feel jolly at all.
Right.
So yeah, I was just super panicked. So I will say at this point in my life, God and I were a little estranged.
Okay.
So I just kind of didn't really know what to do. Just kind
Right.
of leaning on my own understanding, which is not good.
Yeah.
So I had tons of anxiety. Well, then they finally called me, and they were like, yeah, we're just confirming that you have triple negative cancer, stage 3. I'm like, what?
Stage 3. You're
Yeah.
like, oh.
It had moved to a lymph node, too.
Mhm.
It had moved to a nearby lymph node.
And you didn't feel anything before? I mean, before you
felt
felt
totally-
normally fine?
Nothing. No signs.
Right.
Couldn't see it. Nothing. So I was just like, I was shocked. I mean, I felt like my body had betrayed me.
Right.
It was awful. So I was just like, okay. So I didn't really know anything about triple negative breast cancer, but it's like one of the most aggressive forms of cancer.
Really?
So, yeah. So I was kind of looking it up and, Google's the rabbit hole.
Right. Oh,
So
gosh.
I was like, I'm going to have to stop because this is
Right.
not
This is not
good.
good for me.
Yeah.
I have a child.
Yeah. So went in to see her and she was like, we've confirmed it's cancer. She's like, that's why I said what I said to you. She's like, I just didn't want you to be totally taken off guard.
Yeah.
So my best friend, Lauren, she went with me again to that. And I was like, okay, so like, what do we do? Like, can I try some pills? I don't know
Right. You're
anything
like,
about.
all I know is what's on TV,
Yeah.
what people talk about, and I've seen the shows.
Yeah. She was like, well, triple negative breast cancer isn't fed by hormones, so the pills wouldn't work. I'm like, okay. So she's like, well, we do chemotherapy for this. And I'm like, I don't want to do chemotherapy.
Right.
And I was like, well, what happens if I don't do chemotherapy? She's like, you're your own person and you can do what you want to do. She's like, but don't expect to live more than 2 years. Yeah.
I mean, at least she.
Yeah, no, I mean, she shot it to me straight. And that's what you need in situations
so-
like that.
yeah.
Like, you need to know. And I was like, man, okay. Like,
Right.
and so she was like, I'm going to have to refer you, to an oncologist. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm just in shock at this
Right.
point.
Oh, yeah. No, you just got a whole bunch of information.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how you
Yeah.
felt.
And who wants to do chemotherapy?
Right,
Because
yeah.
that's what I was like, when I was waiting for the appointment, I was like, well, I'll try like anything but chemo. I don't want to do
Right.
chemo.
Right.
And of
Because
course.
it's so much. I mean, like, there's so much negative. Plus, you see the pictures of people on Instagram and all that have gone through cancer. I mean, like chemo and stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's poison.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's poison and it's there, for one purpose, to kill the cancer.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's not localized. So
Mhm.
it goes
All
everywhere.
over. Yeah.
So, So anyway, I went to a few different oncologists. I think I met with 3 of them.
Uh-huh.
And the next one I went to was at IU, and she gave me an even shorter amount of time to live. She said like 18 months. And I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. What? Yeah. So it was awful. I was just like, okay. So then I was like, I'm going to talk to these other 2 people. Just, I like to have like a second and
Is
third
that why
opinion.
you did all like different perspectives, or is that what you
Yeah.
do when you're in cancer? I don't know.
No, I chose to. It
Okay.
was kind of elective because I just wanted to make sure that like if there wasn't something else I could do,
Right.
and plus I guess it was just like not an answer I wanted to hear.
Yeah, right.
So you're like hoping that you'll find someone else.
Right. So, and that's like, no, you don't do chemo. You're cool.
Yeah, yeah. So went to 2 other doctors. They
Mhm.
all said chemo.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was chemo. So had to do it. It was awful.
Was it? See, I've never really talked to someone who's gone through. I mean, like, I worked with some like nurses that went through chemo and like were working with, but like, is it like what's it like?
So during the treatments, let me clarify. During the treatments, it's okay. Like you don't
Right.
feel anything. It's not painful or anything like that. I elected to do something called cold capping to try and save my hair, which for
Yeah.
me didn't work.
Didn't work.
But supposedly, if it didn't save your hair, it could help it grow back faster. Because I guess some people lose their hair and it won't grow back.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
about that.
So my insurance covered it. I was like, I'm
Oh,
here
that's
anyway. Let's do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I kept a tiny bit of hair, but not a lot. So my treatments, I would be there like 8 hours, but like a full day
Oh, wow.
because I was also doing immunotherapy.
Uh-huh.
So that's basically a therapy that he recommended that would kind of teach my body to start like fighting off cancer cells if it ever try to come back.
Oh,
So
that's
it's very aggressive.
yeah.
So I had to do it all, So I had to
Mhm.
get like a port
Yeah.
installed, and they would just do everything through the port. So one of my brothers, he would take me to all my chemos, which was nice because
Right?
he's like my funny brother. So he would like,
So that helped out. Oh my
yeah,
God,
because
that's-
he's funny. And so he would just be sitting there like making jokes or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then a lot of times I would just go to sleep. I get kind of sleepy.
yeah.
So I would do that, or these ladies would come around and bring you warm blankets and
Aw.
snacks and, so, so you don't feel bad from chemo until about 3 days later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about the 3rd day, you feel like dying.
Ugh.
I had I've never gotten migraines, started
Yeah.
getting horrible migraine headaches. It was just you just really feel like you're dying.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And that's just from, like, the chemo and all that stuff?
Yeah.
That's so
And
crazy.
so you're like that for a good, I want to say about 4 or 5 days. You're just
Mhm.
out. So I would be in bed because I elected to do the stronger dose every
Mhm.
3 weeks. So I wouldn't have to be there like every week.
Yeah.
Because I was still working. So it was a lot.
Right? I bet so. I mean, I've heard about it and stuff, but I didn't know, like, if that was just, like, you were just constantly sick during the infusion, but it was after. Did you have someone to take care of you during that time?
Not necessarily. So I have 4 brothers.
Mhm.
And so I had the one brother that I told you about took me to
Yeah.
chemo. Then one of my other brothers, he actually was like taking care of my kids, as
Yeah.
in like picking them up, getting them to school, all that. And
Yeah.
he would help me like if I needed him. But I mostly was just kind of like in bed for a few days. But I could still like get around, but I did not feel good at all.
Right.
So
Uh,
I was just kind of down, you know?
Right.
And then right when you start to feel better, it's time to go do
You gotta
another.
go back into
You gotta
chemo.
go do another treatment. So it was just really rough, and I think also, so you're not only feeling bad, but then like you start to look bad,
Yeah.
you start to look gaunt, you look tired,
Yeah.
you lose your hair,
Right.
very like dehumanizing.
Right. I bet that is. And during this time, you say you didn't have like a relation with the Lord as you do now.
Yeah.
So what were you feeling? Were you just like super just pissed at the Lord, or were you not even like, screw you, I'm just doing me, like I'm just going to tough this out myself
I
during
had
this
so
time?
many mixed feelings. I kind of felt like God hated me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really did. I felt like God hated me. I was like, man, have I really been like this bad of a person?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Gosh, yeah. And
Right.
so I was just like, goodness. So I don't really know because we all have choices, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really know why, but I was just like, I can't do this on my own. I have to turn to the Lord.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I really felt like during my treatments and stuff.
Sorry, we don't have any tissues.
That's fine. I just felt like during my treatments, like just feeling like God was surrounding me.
Really?
Yeah, just like carrying me through. And I started just like really leaning on him. And then that's when I had kind of found my way back to Trader's Point.
Uh-huh.
I started going right when I got diagnosed. And
Oh,
then
really?
yeah, I was at the Carmel Traders.
Okay.
And then got diagnosed and then kind of couldn't like be in church as much because I
Mhm.
was like dealing
Not
with
feeling
that
it,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah. So then one day I went and I was kind of just up front. And afterwards I was like, I'm going to like be brave and have somebody like pray with me. So I
Uh-huh.
found Lenny. Yeah.
Well, that was
Oh my
a God
gosh.
thing.
Yeah. Love
Right?
Lenny. Oh my gosh. Such an amazing person. Found her. And I was just telling her and I just broke down and was like crying.
Uh-huh.
And she was just like, I saw her arm and she called like all these
Uh-huh.
girls over. And it was like Sierra, Taylor, Kenzie, Phoebe.
Yeah.
And they just all like surrounded me and like just covered me in prayer.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like Sierra's so gifted. She was just speaking all these prophetic things. And I'm like, I didn't tell you that. Like, how do you know
Right?
this about me?
Isn't
Yeah.
that the craziest thing
Oh,
to
it
hear
was
like
wild.
a word? Like that's what happened with first time I ever met Taylor, or like I like interacted with her, was for like prayer. And
Yeah.
like it was a legit, no one would have known like what, and she said what she said was exactly like what I was thinking, and she spoke it to, and I was like, oh my God, I just got a word. And like
Yeah.
I've always wanted it, and then when it hit, I was like, that's a word. That she didn't make that up. Like there's no way she could have.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I felt when Sierra was like speaking over me. She's like, can I put my hand on your heart? And she just started, I was like, what?
Right?
Like, yeah, who are you? Yeah. So that was really moving. And I actually felt like for the first time in really a long period of time, I had been actually seen,
Mhm.
because when I was trying to work during chemo, my job was not nice to me at all. And they ended up firing me during chemo.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Ended up firing me. I was showing up, doing everything, and they
Yeah.
just one day told me I didn't have a job anymore. Yeah.
How was that? I mean, like, that was this the same time that you were in the trenches, like, still thinking God was mad at you, or were you in church or, like
I was in church at that point. So I was leaning into God.
Okay.
Still, I wouldn't say I was like
Alright.
100%
Oh,
all
yeah.
in, but I was like starting to lean in, you know? So then that was kind
And
of
then
like,
Satan got you at that one,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. But the thing is, though, when I think about it, I really was really miserable at that job.
Mhm.
People weren't nice to me. You know
Right?
what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, one of my coworkers, she was just like, well, you don't really look sick.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Like,
Right, you're like, "I don't know what to tell you,"
yeah, I
like
don't know what to say because it's
Right.
like, I am,
Mhm, yeah.
and I had provided them with all the paperwork and all that. But also at the same time, I wasn't going to just like let cancer beat me.
Yeah.
I've always been a fighter. I'm extremely resilient.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, like, and I was like losing my hair at work. It was awful. So I was like, I'm going to get a wig. I'm still going to do my makeup. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to
Yeah.
work, So, like, sorry that I'm trying and don't just like come
Right.
in looking like deathly
Yeah,
ill,
'cause that's just not who you are.
No,
Plus,
it's
it's
not.
like I think honestly, like, I've never gone through cancer, but, like, just being, like, a mom and when, like, that newborn phase where you're like, I just need to put, like I need to look good to at least, like, putting makeup on and doing yourself, you have that, like, mental thing being like, "Okay, I look good." Like, there's just something into, like, being able to put on makeup and to actually, like, go in public.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. It mentally does help.
Yeah. If you
So,
can,
like
like, what is that? They say look better than you feel.
Yeah, right? Which
Yeah,
is pretty
it's
much what
kinda
we
just like
always
a
yeah.
mindset that, like, fake it till you make it. So
Right?
that's, what I did or tried to do, but
Right?
you still don't feel great, but
But
you
people are just they suck sometimes.
yeah, you kinda learn it when you're in the trenches
Right.
fighting because, I was really hoping that, my youngest daughter's dad would step up and help, and
Mhm.
he didn't do anything.
So do you already have, your young it's okay if I Bella? It's
Yeah,
okay if I
yeah,
okay, I
yeah.
didn't know about that. I
Sorry.
meant you I didn't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, so you already had Bella
Mhm.
after that she must have been young.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you said 2023,
Yeah.
and Bella's about the same age as
No, so
Zara.
Bella is turning 4 next
Okay,
month.
okay, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so she doesn't really know what's going on. Val, though, my
Yeah,
older one, she saw it.
right.
That was really hard for her.
Oh, yeah. No, I bet so. That was I mean, it is good though. You see now, like looking back, you see God in the story of like your brothers like helping and stuff. Like
Yeah.
he did, I mean, he was, I mean, like, yeah, he was there for you and
Mhm.
stuff. But so you said, sorry, to go back to
Yeah.
the, you started going to church, you started going to traders first and stuff. And then how was the cancer during, like you were still doing chemo and all that
Yeah,
and
I
stuff?
was doing chemo, and then I think it was a few treatments in, they would do this blood test to check
Mhm.
my tumor DNA, and, after that, like, prayer, I think it was, like, a week later, they did that test, and my cancer was gone.
No, I just got chills.
Yeah.
I knew I mean,
It
I
was
knew you're cancer free now,
it
but I
was
didn't know it was like
It was gone. 0.
right?
Literally, my tumor markers went to 0. I'm like, "What?" Yeah, and so I was supposed to do, 8 rounds of chemo. That's just, like, the standard, I
Is
guess,
it?
of
Okay.
care. I had done 4 at that point, and he was like, "If you're okay with it," he's like, "I'd really like to at least do this next one we have coming up." I was like, "Okay, I'll do 1 more." I said, "But if my cancer is gone, I'm not gonna
Right?
keep putting this poison in my body."
Alright.
I was like, "So, we'll do 1 more." So I did that. Did the, immunotherapy, still
Yeah.
same thing, and then I got to ring my little bell.
Alright.
Yeah, and that was awesome, but yeah, the cancer has stayed gone now. They did make me do, some additional treatments,
Mhm.
radiation, lumpectomy,
Yeah.
things like that. I didn't have to do, like, a full mastectomy or anything because it was so weird, I don't carry any cancer genes. Because
Ah.
initially, I thought so I'm adopted from Brazil, and I thought, "Okay, well, maybe I'm carrying this gene, and we just didn't know to look for it,
Mhm.
like a BRCA gene or something," but I'm not. So it's still kind of a mystery as to, like,
Huh.
how,
Yeah.
because I've been healthy pretty much my whole life. Some minor things
Yeah,
here and there,
right.
but
We're all humans. Yeah.
not illness like that. So that's why I was like, "Man."
That is
But
weird.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if, like, God didn't, like, bring that upon me so that I could, like, find him because I'm not sure that I would have.
Right.
I was just very like estranged, kind of on a not so great path, I guess,
Mhm.
just feeling lost. And I had a bad, like, I'd say 3 years or so just of like bad things happening, you
Yeah.
know? And I was just kind of feeling pretty abandoned
Right.
by God. So, but I just feel like during that, I had kind of had no choice but to turn to him.
Mhm.
And so I
Mhm.
did. And I just, the way I've seen him just change my life is just crazy.
Right? I mean,
And
it's
like,
just crazy to hear like, they prayed over you, and then a few weeks later, it was like, look,
mhm.
what was it like hearing that? Like, being like, "What? Say what?" Like, because you knew you got prayed over. So
Yeah.
you knew something was happening. You felt
Yeah.
something, but then it was like, "Oh,
Well, I've
my
heard,
blood test?"
you know, we hear stories about that all the
Right?
time about people like the power of prayer.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one thing to hear about it than it
Right.
is to like experience it. And I was just like, wow. Like I was just shocked.
Right. Did you link it together, or were you just like, "Oh, the chemo," I mean, like, the chemo did work, but,
No,
like,
I feel like it was. I mean, I immediately was
you were like,
like,
"That was a
God.
God thing."
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of faith in my doctor. He's
Mhm.
really smart. So I'm not like discounting
Oh, yeah,
him,
yeah. No,
but
no.
I just felt like no, it was just God all over it.
Right? Because it had to be. I mean, like, if you think about it, if normally it takes 8 rounds and
Mhm.
you're 4, 5
Yeah,
just to be sure, safe, that's I mean, like, right there, then that's above normal, like,
yeah.
it's something, but I feel like it is you just I mean, like, you hear about it, but it's different to, like, experience it,
Hmm.
and that's crazy, like, just the praying over it, and then it wasn't, like I don't know. It's just I mean, it was
Yeah,
definitely the Lord. I
yeah,
mean,
for sure.
100%.
Yeah, and then after that, I decided to do rooted,
Yeah.
which got me even closer, to God. I feel like I grew so much in rooted.
Really?
And yeah, I feel like I grew so much. I know not everybody gets the same thing out of it. It kind of
Yeah.
depends like where you are in life, I think.
Yeah.
But gosh, I feel like I almost just transformed into a different person. So yeah, I got so much from rooted. So like I
Right.
tell everybody, I'm always like, do rooted.
Right.
Yeah.
But what do you think was the thing that got you I mean, like, yes, Rooted, but what about Rooted, do you think? And Rooted for those who don't know, Rooted is a program that's at our church where what do exactly I haven't taken Rooted.
Okay.
What exactly, like I know you do, like, a testimony and you get to know, like, the purpose of like, what is Rooted?
So there's like a book and you follow it
Mhm.
that kind of has like a different curriculum that we follow. And then we do some activities like they try to get us in some outreach, like different places you can volunteer within the church. And then we actually do a outreach outside of the church. Ours was at Wheeler Mission. And it's
Yeah.
just kind of like I felt for me it was a safe place where we could kind of expose our stories and expose our vulnerability and like Sierra started leading it, but then she moved, and so Taylor took
Yeah.
over, and so it's just kind of a place to, like, be vulnerable and have people help you, like, grow in Christ, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things I didn't really understand,
Right.
and so it kinda helped me to understand, but another thing that I think was so beneficial was community. So I've just kinda growing up had bad experiences with women,
Mhm.
just being backstabby,
Yeah.
catty, whatever, and I really didn't get that from this group of ladies, and I felt like what I said stayed in there. I felt like everybody was, like, unusually supportive.
I
So
know.
I was like, "Oh my gosh," and I told them the first day I was in there, I was like, I didn't even wanna come back, like, because
Right.
I don't I'm somewhat social, but not necessarily.
Mhm.
I'm pretty guarded
Mhm.
initially, and so I was like, "Gosh, I don't wanna do this with all these girls in here," you know?
Right.
But the more I kept going, I was, like, so happy that I did. But it really pushed me out of my comfort zone,
Right.
and I was the first person to share, like, kind of my story in Rooted, so that was definitely out of my comfort zone too, but I'm kind of like a rip the Band-Aid girl,
Right.
so I was like,
You
"Let me
got
do it."
to.
Yeah, let me just do it. Yeah.
Right. Right. Tell
Yeah.
the truth, shame the devil. That's what I say.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Especially, but that's, I mean, the whole I mean, like the cancer thing, that is crazy and stuff that, like, and I do believe, I mean, it's such a weird thing to say. I feel like when people are like what you said, like, I feel like if I didn't have that cancer thing, then I wouldn't be so close to the Lord.
Mhm.
And I feel like, have you ever had anyone push back on this? Have you made that statement around people who were not believers and stuff?
Yeah, so my dad actually, he's gotten more open, I think,
Mhm.
since he's witnessed the change in me. But I lost my sister in 2007, and my dad just lost his faith with the Lord. So
Mhm.
I grew up initially Catholic, very Catholic, just kind of doing all the Catholic things.
Right.
Uh, I didn't personally get that much out of being Catholic. That's just me.
Right.
But his family was just very like rooted in that.
Mhm.
And I think that he was a man of God with faith. But then when that happened to my sister, he just was not.
Right.
Well, and so after that, he was just really angry for like years. I think he's still partially angry,
Right.
but my dad had actually stepped foot in church. I think it's been like 5 times or so. I mean, this year, I think it started maybe the end of last year. I mean, that right there is just like amazing because he
Right.
was so like, no, no to God. And so I know that like the change he's witnessed in me is, like, prompting him to do
Yeah.
that because he would just absolutely know, said it was just, like, a load of crap.
Right.
As I
Which
asked him, I'm like, "What is your deal? Like, what
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 is
is your
your
deal?
deal?
Like, what's the deal?"
Why are you
And
hating?
he was just like, "I just feel like because of the things that have happened to me, it doesn't matter how much I pray." And that's really hurtful, like, that's
Right.
a statement of hurt, and
Yeah.
it
Oh,
made
yeah.
me hurt for him,
Right.
but when he and my mom kinda, like, stepped back into church and they don't go, like, every Sunday yet, they're
Yeah.
still kinda like, when you're, like, towing the line,
Yeah.
but I don't care, toe the line, like, at
Right.
least your foot's in the door, like,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You're like, "I'm not mad about
No.
that." Like, you're
No.
going and you weren't before.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think it's just such like a human thing to be like, "No, you gotta do it all at once," kinda thing. But I think also your experience in your life, you're like, "Dude, it's fine." Like, "It's fine." I was the same way. Like,
Yeah.
it took a little bit of time, and then we had
Mhm.
something something happen. How does it feel to know that, like, because, like, the Lord has changed you, your father sees that or your parents see that, and they're going to church?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy right there,
It's it just shows, like, how God works to
right?
me, you know what I mean? But I was just like, "Wow, what a blessing."
Right.
Just such a blessing.
It's so weird to say, like that, like this cancer thing and stuff. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that like there's such a redeeming factor, and people have that decision to be a victim of it or to see, to be redeemed from it, like because
Yeah,
there's pain in the purpose. There's something you went through this for a reason.
yeah,
I mean, to be closer to God and to do that, but then now you're changing your family's life, and you're a mother who has, like, given your life to the Lord. So now you are this beautiful example to your daughters too.
yeah, and that's
Right.
actually Val ended up so she went to Traders Point summer camp
Oh, she
last
did?
year, and she came back and was like, "I wanna get baptized," and the whole time she was there, I was praying. I was like, "Please let
Uh-huh.
her come home and tell me she wants to
Right.
get baptized." Like, I want her to get
Aw.
baptized so bad. Because like, both of my girls have been baptized in the Catholic faith,
Yeah,
but I was like, I want her to, like,
to make the decision.
yeah, to
Yeah.
go all in, and she told me, and I was oh my gosh,
I
I
bet
was
you were
so
like,
happy.
"Ah."
I was so happy, so
Right?
happy, and Taylor baptized her, and I love that. Yeah,
Aw.
love that.
Isn't that it's so beautiful to see how you said you had, trouble with, like, community growing up, like, with, like, ladies and stuff,
Yeah,
and how the Lord has redeemed that through, like, just putting your faith in Him in this and
yeah,
stuff, and now you have a community, I mean, you have and then your daughter, like, I think more than anything, I mean, my children have not been baptized, but, like, that decision, your child making that decision, because you know how hard it was to be growing up being a girl and, like, not like I mean, I guess I can only speak for myself, not you, but, like, that, like, I didn't really make that decision till later, but, like, I would have been so much better if I would have made that decision earlier. You know what I mean? Like, that
do you
decision
think so, though?
right?
Because I feel like we
I
could
like to
challenge
think
that almost.
we could I mean, yeah, I think I would because I did a lot of things because I was trying to find love, and if I knew that, like I mean, like, in the Bible study last night when we were talking, like,
Yeah,
what have you known that that Satan has attacked through your life would be, like, identity and love. Like, I always struggled with, like not, like, identity, I've always known I'm a girl, like,
mhm.
that kinda
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But, like, just, like, identity of, like, being, like, who am I? Like, whose am I? Like, because so it's just, like because I didn't have the best I mean, like, I had a good upbringing. I'm not, like, I had all like, I got to have every single thing I wanted, but it was just, my parents weren't, like, as intentional as I would like them to be.
No, that
But
sounds really similar to
yeah,
me.
and
Mhm.
so I think if I was to actually lean into, like, where I am now, like, even when, like, even though I am a mother that I feel like I don't know how to be a mother because I never had examples to be like what it looked like to be a mother. I said the only examples I had were like ex-boyfriends' moms that like actually were like mom. Like
Yeah.
I look back and I'm like, yeah, sure. Like they actually like made dinner. They actually like showed like what it was like to be a mom. And I still to this day struggle with it and stuff. But now that I have the Lord, I don't look to like other things to fill this like what's a mother. I'm like, Lord, you gave me these children to parent with my personality. You will give me the strength I need. I'm going to mess up. Yes, I am. But as long as you're with me, I think we're going to be good.
Yeah.
Where I think back then, I just tried to find love, especially with like men and just like stuff and how pretty I was and like all that I think if I was to know before, I think I wouldn't have made decisions I made. But in those decisions, there is like I learned stuff like from them,
Growth.
and there is like miracles in them in
Mhm.
the thing. Like the Lord literally makes like messes to beautiful things and stuff. So I think to a point, I would like we don't know like if I would if I would have made those decisions, but I think I would, especially like relationships with men and stuff. I think I would have made better decisions because I wouldn't have looked for that love out of like dudes. Because now I look back and I'm like, I know I'm a child of God. And that's not just like Christianese. Like
Yeah.
I believe that, like I have no matter what, like there's gonna be people that let me down, but my faith is in the Father, like Heavenly
Yeah.
Father, that it's like I always have him where before I felt like I always knew God, but I just never like I knew he saved me from my sins,
Yeah.
but he was never like Lord over everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the love he had for me. Like I always tried to just like love like I kind of like love bomb him, like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this, stuff. And it never worked out. And then I would just go, find love with dudes or or like mask it with
Yeah.
alcohol and stuff like that. So I do think but I don't like it's like like it's
I
always like what if?
I think all those experiences though, like probably shape you and give you a
Oh
lot of more character than you give yourself credit for. And so maybe you wouldn't be sitting right here if
Right.
you
Oh, yeah,
know,
no,
had that.
definitely.
Because I think about that too. I think we could all go down the rabbit hole that the enemy would like us to go down and be like, well, you should have done this, or you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's a lot of decisions I'm like not super proud of. And I'm like, well, I could be here if I would have done this. But it's like, for what? We don't have yesterday.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, we can only put our best foot forward. And I think that as long as we're doing that, I think that God really like will have keep his hands on you.
Oh, yeah.
I do. Like, and we're not going to be perfect.
No.
We're never going to be perfect,
Right.
But yeah, I will say like the enemy. I feel like the enemy is almost like a vulture, and like
Right.
what I think of him is
Right.
like he wants to get his talons in you and just
Right.
stay there. And I felt so much pushback since like giving myself to the Lord or back to the Lord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gosh, I feel like the enemy just really wants to
He
get his
does.
talons and
He honestly
take me
wasn't
back. Yeah.
he wants to steal our joy. What was it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's hard.
It
It's
is.
hard.
It is very hard and stuff. I know for the longest time I really had to like work through like suffering and like I just because it's like I thought like I don't know. I believe it was also like I grew up where it was like if you accept the Lord, like things are gonna be like they always made it sound like things
Yeah.
are gonna be easy. But there's nothing like once I actually start reading the Bible, it's like there's nothing in this book
No.
that's easy.
No.
No one had it easy.
No. And even the people that maybe started out easy, like Job.
Yeah.
Look at
Right?
yeah. I mean,
Like you never know like the Job story is just I mean, it's so like it's sad, but it's also so comforting. And then especially the end part where he's like, God, where were you? And when I first read it and God came at him strong, be like, were you there when I created the earth? When you did
yeah.
that? Like first I was like, this is kind of mean. But then like the more I develop as a Christian and just life, I've been like, no, like there's comfort in the power of what his answer.
Something
What
that
you
was
think?
like super moving for me about the Job story is that like, yeah, I mean, God really did let
Right?
Satan come in and take almost everything that he had and kind of let him sit there in it. But at the end, God, like, gave him so much more. I mean,
Right?
you can never obviously, like, replace, like, a child you've lost, but, like, he gave him so much more, and it's probably, like, that was even more than Job could even dream of.
Right?
So I try to remember that when I think of, like, things that have been taken. It's like, no, like, God will multiply. Like, anything that's taken away, like, he'll give you something so much better. So
Right?
much better. And that's kinda how I feel about my life. Like, it hasn't been perfect. I can identify with, like, your upbringing, like, I mean, being adopted, so I went to the Catholic school,
Mhm.
everybody was white with straight hair. And
Right.
I just like little girls, and I was just like, gosh, like I felt out of place, and
Yeah.
like my adoptive parents are white. And I just felt like super out of place, always out of place. And I feel like the enemy would attack my identity. Like, oh, well, if you had blonde hair and blue eyes, like
Right.
you'd be, guys would like you or whatever. And then
Right.
like my mom, she wasn't always like the best
Right.
mom, And
I know.
so she would, uh, she would go off to Arizona. My sister was in Arizona,
Mhm.
had a baby. Um, I don't really know why my mom was in Arizona so much, but she missed a lot of like vital times for me.
Mhm.
And so that just kind of hit at my already deep-seated abandonment issues from being adopted.
Yeah.
So it kind of touched on that. And I did the same things you did, like kind of try to depend on men for
Right.
happiness. And you can't put your happiness in other people. It just
Right.
disappoint you.
They do.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, like, people say it, like, people would tell me all the time, but, like, I mean, like, I'm one of those people. I mean, now I'm older, I'm not so immature and stuff, so I'm like, when people tell me stuff, I'm like, "Okay, Imma take your word on it." But when I was younger, I was like, "Well, no, this time it's gonna work out. This time I think we're gonna be good.
Yep.
I think this is." And then I would find myself in the craziest relationships, like, just abusive people, and I was like, "What? What is this now? I mean, why am I taking like," and it was just you get gaslighted and all kind, and you're
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
what is it like? And you step back and you're like, but, like, and then you start thinking you deserve. Oh my gosh. You
Or
guys done that.
it's or it's like you're always trying to meet their needs, like
Uh-huh.
your needs don't matter.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it turns out.
Right.
Like, I know when I was with Bella's dad, I felt like I totally lost my entire identity.
Right.
I even look back at pictures and I'm like, I don't even look the same. Like, I started like altering my appearance and I didn't even realize it until I look back and I'm like, this is like scary. You know what
Right.
I mean?
But
Like,
you
it's
don't like.
no, I think I just didn't wanna be who I was. I was so, like, upset with, like, just kind of the way that situation turned out, and like I
Mhm.
said, no help during chemo, no help during
Yeah.
anything, and still not really any help with my
Right.
daughter, and that was just so hard for me to wrap my head around
Mhm.
that I think I just before, like, this whole situation, I just didn't wanna be who I was. I thought, "Well, maybe if I'm somebody else, like, this will turn out
Yeah.
differently," but it
Right.
didn't.
And you want, especially too, I mean, I guess I can only, I didn't have my children was when I got, married and stuff.
Mhm.
But with it, like, you also, like, I've heard people want to try to make it work. Like, when you have, because you do have that, like, to be honest, like, you don't, like, y'all are not married. I'm not trying to, like,
No,
shame you
that's
one
fine.
single bit.
That's fine.
That's
No.
not my intention at all.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's also like, I can only imagine, like, trying to work it out and stuff. I mean, you have this beautiful blessing. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing. I think people get so hung up on people not being married and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But, like, you legit have a miracle from this relationship and stuff. But it is hard to make that, like, to be in that tension.
Yeah,
Would you say so? I don't know.
that's how I view it, like, I think that, obviously, what I was doing with him was sinful
Right.
behavior, right? So
Right.
there are consequences to yours, and for me, I didn't want another another child. I was
Yeah.
cool with Val,
It was cool.
and yeah, I was
Val
cool.
was cool.
Yeah, I was,
She was
I
cool.
had just gotten Val to an age where she was kinda, like, independent,
Right.
And so, I was, like, terrified, absolutely terrified, so terrified that in full disclosure, I called the abortion clinic and was like,
Right.
"Tell me what it's like to do this, like, how does it work?" Yeah, "How does it work?" And man, not even 2 minutes into it, I, like, hung up the phone. I
Well,
was
were
like,
they honest with you? 'Cause people
"Mhm."
always say they were.
No,
I always thought they were, because
they
working
were.
labor and delivery, we did, like, D&Es, and we were very, like, which is, like, medical abortions, and we were very honest. So I don't know where people in, like, the news are saying, like, they sugarcoat, because I even worked with, like,
They
an
didn't
abortion
sugarcoat to
doctor.
me, they were
They
like, "We're gonna
don't.
make you look at the and I was like,
Right? Like,
"I'm not." Yeah.
I honestly do feel like they
Yeah.
don't sugarcoat this, and I think,
Mhm.
I mean, that's a whole 'nother conversation. Sorry, but
No, 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 I get it. I just, I called because I was just you're
it's a
panicked,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't really, I don't judge anybody who has
Yeah.
abortions. Everybody, it's, to each their own, but I've never been somebody like, I don't think I'm capable of carrying that out. But in
Right.
desperation, I'm just like making the call, like, I don't know what I'm doing. But
Right.
I was like, oh, this is not,
Right.
I'm not doing
But
this. So,
you see how, like, I with Daisy, I was very extremely sick, and I had 2 other kids, and I
yeah.
literally, that was the time when I was like, I understand why people get abortions. I'm a Christian, I have more sanctity of life, like, I
Mhm.
understand that, but, like, I do understand, because it is
It's
It
hard.
is rough.
Yeah.
It is rough. But I mean, the Lord does help you through it. But sorry, we digress.
No,
We
yeah.
di-
It's
right.
I just
So I do get it. Like,
yeah, I just yeah, kind of like panicked, but then I was like, I don't know, I kind of calmed down and I was like, I've raised Val. I can do this again.
right.
I can do it again. Um and I just my whole pregnancy, her dad just gave me the hardest time. I mean, he just
Oh,
lacked support and just gave me the hardest time.
mhm.
And I just kept thinking, like, well, as it goes on, maybe he'll get better. You want to like
Right.
have
Oh,
that
you do.
positive thinking,
You
like, oh,
do.
he'll get better. Like, when she gets here, he'll just love her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that just never really happened. Just never
Oh,
really happened. And so that was another thing that I got kind of like angry at God about because I'm like, why are you, like, why are
right.
you doing this? Like, so I think that though I was focused more on the relationship,
Mhm.
whereas I feel like in my sin, like God blessed me with a beautiful
Right.
baby. And I think that was the point, was he wanted me to be Isabella's mother.
Yeah.
And so that's how I feel, because I actually did pray during that time. And I did take it to God. I'm not really sure like why, because like I said, I was kind of in the estranged, like in the estranged period.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna kind of pray. And I got like a very hard answer from God, like that I needed to have the baby, and like if I was to carry through an abortion, like there would be consequences. It was a very
Interesting.
yeah, it was kind of forceful, which we've seen God be forceful, like
You
in
were
the
like,
Bible. I just had never
yeah.
experienced that. So I was like, oh, okay, well, like that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
Right.
carry it out. So I just enjoyed, I tried to enjoy my pregnancy and everything. And just kind of started to view it as like, okay, like she's meant to be here.
Yeah.
She's meant to be here from God. And as time's gone on, I've realized that like it's really cool to be a mom again, because I had Val when I was 21. I
Yeah.
wasn't ready to be a
Oh,
mom.
right. Yeah.
My parents helped me a lot. I was just not ready. And so, with Bella, I was in my 30s. I was just a lot more like with it, I guess, more
Right.
mature. And I got to experience pregnancy all over again in a really different way, where I was
Right.
more involved. And yeah, you kind of get to do things differently, like things that maybe I should have done with Val, I get to do with Bella.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, just that. But it was hard even too with Bella, because I had really high blood pressure,
Oh, no.
had to be put on bed rest,
Yeah.
had a C-section, and then she wasn't really like eating very much. We couldn't really get her to eat.
You were like, oh no.
Failed a hearing test in one
Mhm.
of her ears, and I'm like, what's going on? And for C-section, you get seen by like 3 different doctors.
Yeah.
She's been seen. Everybody was like, oh, she just has a like a bad sucking reflex or something. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So did the normal thing, took her to the pediatrician. They didn't see anything either, but she kept losing weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, something's not right. Like, I went to the store and bought every kind of bottle imaginable.
Yeah.
She would cry all the time. She was hungry,
Yeah.
But I was just like trying to do it by myself. And I remember like during that time, your hormones are crazy.
Right.
I was sleep deprived. I felt like she never sleep. I like locked myself in the laundry room and just cried. I was
Right.
like,
And sometimes you do.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
I
mean, you
can't,
need to.
I
Yeah.
can't do this. And so, finally one day I just got desperate and I took her to the emergency room and I said, I don't know what to do. You guys are gonna have to help me. I said, I think she needs an IV to start. I was
Right.
like, but I can't get her to eat. Help me. Like, I
Right.
was desperate. And somebody looked in her mouth and I could tell they like maybe saw something but didn't want to say anything, because I was just at the regular hospital.
Yeah.
So they're like, we need to transfer you to Peyton Manning. I'm like, okay,
Right.
why? They're like,
Yeah.
this is like the pediatric. I'm like, okay. They're like, do you want to ambulance her, or are you comfortable driving? I said, if you let her finish this IV, I'm comfortable with her
Yeah.
driving. So we finished the IV and I just drove her because they said it would be quicker. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
let's
Plus
go.
less money probably. For you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So took her there, and RN walked in and was like, has anyone told you about her cleft palate?
She had what?
Yeah, she had a soft cleft palate back there. And I'm like, why is an RN telling me this when like 4 different doctors
Right. I'm
have
surprised
looked
you
at
left the
you?
hospital. I mean, because that's something they check for. So that's so weird.
I was livid. I was happy but livid. When
Right.
you're
Well,
like,
you're at pump because you found out, but then you're also like,
I told them, everybody heard my story. I was like, listen here, let me tell you like what my life's been like. And they're like, "We're so sorry." But they're like, "We'll get her these specialty bottles and she can eat," because they're like triggered by the flick of the tongue.
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
So once they gave her the bottle, I mean, she immediately picked up on it. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Where were you?" Like,
Right? That is
So
so weird.
it was hard. But like once I got her to eat, that was great.
Right.
But that was just kind of the beginning because then they're like, "We've got to have you go see genetics to make sure that there's not anything genetically wrong with
Yeah.
her." Luckily, there wasn't. It was just an isolated
Yeah.
condition. So I haven't had to do anything with that. But I mean, Bella's followed very closely by the cleft palate doctor. He repaired her cleft palate at, I think it was after her first birthday.
Uh-huh.
Went really well. She speaks great. I had her in first steps and,
Mhm.
but that was a rough road for me because
Right.
come to find out, we had to do a bunch of testing for her hearing, but the reason that she was failing was her cleft palate because all that's
Right,
connected.
yeah.
But luckily, I didn't know she was like partially deaf. I'm like freaking
No,
out.
I mean, now she hears
No,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's not.
But
It was
due to
all
it,
the
yeah.
fluid. It was fluid in the ears. So we had to do tubes.
Uh-huh.
We had to do all that testing.
Right.
Then the cleft palate repair. She's been through a lot, like for a little girl,
Right.
And I was there with her through it. It was hard.
Right.
That was really hard. But even that, like, when I look back at it
Yeah.
now, that has God all over it. It's
Right.
like I listened, I did what God told me to do. He was with us every step of the way. So that could have
Right.
turned out a lot different. I mean, really, when I think about it, had I not taken her to the ER, she probably could have died. I mean,
Right, yeah.
she was little to begin with. She was only 6'1". I mean, she kept losing weight. I mean,
Right.
she was in the fives. I mean, yeah.
That is so, I mean, like, and it was definitely God telling you, I mean, like, to, like, like, something's up, go to the hospital. Because a lot of people will be like, everyone's telling me, the pediatrician says it's fine. I just don't know what it is. But you were like, no, it's something else. I mean, yes, it probably could be in your mother and their intuition, but still, some people just rely so much on, like, the pediatricians. And so, that's a very peculiar thing. But
It was super strange, but
that
yeah,
they let her go in the hospital. Because I know they check for that.
I never went back.
Right.
I switched.
Right, because I even with our newborn assessment, I did labor and delivery and mother baby, like, we check the suck reflex, like, as a nurse we do.
Yeah. I was like, I'm still, I think it's awful. I hope no one ever has to go through
Right,
that.
any stuff like that,
Yeah.
especially like, just the whole newborn era and stuff, and then if you don't have someone else, like, helping you and stuff.
Yeah, you're just kind of stuck there, like trying to figure it out. But I was like thinking about what if I would have been a first time mother? Would I have had
Right,
those
no.
instincts? I don't think I would have. And so I'm like, because, I feel like it had been a while. They're 8 years apart, but like
Yeah.
mothering is pretty much you're doing the same thing on repeat. It's
Right.
not that hard. It's hard when you're sleep deprived, but it's like the same thing.
Right, it
And I'm
is.
like, man, I don't remember it being like this difficult. But now it all makes sense. Like she kept crying because she was hungry. She couldn't eat,
Yeah,
And so I'm like, okay, all this is making sense. Like,
alright. It is,
yeah,
I mean, it's even a God thing that, like, you had Val first, so then you did know and stuff.
yeah,
And, like, so, yeah, it is. See, it's so, but I feel like sometimes people like to downplay that to, like, just like, "Oh, it's just coincidence kinda thing." Like, you had her first and then how you knew. But I think God is honestly in the big and small things.
yeah,
And you just have to, I mean, like, you look for him and you see that he's there for you. He may not have showed up exactly how you wanted, but he gave you, I always say, like, your daily bread. He gave you what you needed.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
Alright?
Yeah, so
Good stuff.
it's just kind of crazy when you just like I'll just kind of sometimes take an inventory of my life and like I'll just see I guess God's hand in it and
Mhm.
almost everything. So, but I was, things like that. Sometimes I still look back and I'm like, why did I have to like go through that? Like it's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah,
But I
super
think,
hard.
yeah, but it's like you go through it, like, it says, like, trials are for, like, to grow you, to help others, and to glorify God. And I
Yeah.
think if you look through it, it's like, yeah, it grew me, but it probably your story will help someone else.
Well, I think also like different things were happening. I think God was trying to kind of like call me back to him. Like I said,
Mhm.
we were like estranged. Um And I was kinda, like, dabbling in some weird stuff, like, I think I was always looking for God, but I didn't know, like, the right place to look,
Yeah.
So, I was, unfortunately sinning with some of the idol things,
Right.
and I don't think God liked that at all, and so, I think just he was kinda making things happen, hoping that I would, like, come back to
Right.
him, and Unfortunately, it took the cancer
Right.
thing that kind of like stopped me in my tracks.
Did you ever dabble in, like, crystals or any stuff like that?
Yeah.
What drew you I'm very curious about this.
Yeah.
What drew you to to
All
crystal?
that. I was a big in like tarot cards and
Really?
stuff.
Like,
Oh yeah.
what about it do you think that drew you to it? Like, what made
The illusion of control.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how they get you, I think. It's like the illusion of control. Like if you can go to somebody and they can tell you what's gonna happen next.
Right. So you
They
don't have to wait. You don't have that,
Yeah, you
like,
don't have to wait
waiting
and you feel
control.
kind of in control of it. Like if you kind of know what's gonna happen or you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It is I've always wondered that because I
Mhm.
never got into I know a lot of people that did get into, like, crystals and tarot cards, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, I never saw the draw of it. I mean, I would go with people so, like, I would go with people that got tarot readings because
Yeah.
I was Curious George.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what, it was
Yeah.
about, but, like, it makes sense what you saying, like, it is the, like, control of wanting to know, like, "Okay, this is gonna happen next." So,
Mhm.
did the stuff actually, like, work out, like, what they
So there was
predicted?
a few things that, yeah, sometimes like what they said would happen. Then there was a lot of times totally off.
Really?
Yeah, and I felt like the deeper I got into it, the more off it was being. And I was like, I don't get it. Like I don't get what's going on. But there again, God has the final say.
Yeah.
Period. And so I just think that that was kind of like another way God was trying to like be like, "Hey, I'm over here. Like put your trust in me," you know?
Right, yeah.
Cuz like God's very clear about how he feels about idols.
Yeah.
I mean, wiping out whole cities. So
Right, yeah.
it's just yeah.
People,
Yeah,
everything. So, yeah,
everything. Mhm.
that's
Yeah, so
I mean, I think definitely, I think that's it and stuff. I've always just wondered, but it's just that human nature of not wanting to wait and just be like masters of our own thing or like it's just, I mean, the waiting is the worst
it's
part.
hard.
It's so hard.
I still think I like struggle.
I mean, me too, because I also do like struggle with like control. I mean,
Yeah,
even now I don't have as much, but I still notice myself trying to control small situations and stuff.
sure.
But yeah, no, I would say definitely control is something I also struggle with and stuff. And it does so I see the appeal of like the tarot cards and the crystals because you do have that like going to, getting like a answer. You don't have to wait for it. And you don't have to rely on the Lord.
No, but what's crazy is like the people who do that, they're preying on desperate people.
Right.
Because really, like, what's crazy, and I I think about this all the time, is like God's mercy and like forgiveness is absolutely free.
Right.
We don't have to pay him to do a
Right.
reading. Hey God, like we don't have to pay him. You
Right.
just talk to him. You pray and like things happen. Like real change
Right.
happens. But it's like with that stuff, it's like, okay, pay $300 and we'll tell you what's gonna happen, or
Right.
we'll do this candle spell or like whatever. But it's like God's right there for free
Right.
saving lives, like,
Right.
literally, and so it's wild when you think about it, like, I even think about it, I'm like, "What was going on with
Right.
me?" Like, God's always been here for free, again.
Right.
So
For free.
yeah, so it's just crazy to think about.
Right, it is because it's like we spend so much money trying to, I mean, like even just like not even with tarot cards, but like people will be like, like, oh, I lost, like I overcame a sickness and stuff. And people are so easier to be like, I took this supplement, this, where it could just be like, it was the Lord. Like you could with your journey be like, yeah, no, I did chemo. Plus I did, I don't know, some supplement and this and that. And I think it's a supplement, and stuff.
Mhm.
We're so easy. I feel like it's so quick to people to give it to other things because we want that like that
The, like,
physical.
factual
Yeah.
basis. Yeah,
Where
the
it's
to
like,
make
no,
it
it's free. Like it is free. Like you
yeah.
just got to pray and you have to. I think also it's the surrendering that is hard.
And I just felt like I totally surrendered when I was sick.
Right. But
You
you
don't
just had
have a
nowhere
lot.
else to go.
Well, you don't have a lot of energy. I had like no energy. And I sometimes even think about that. I'm like, man, God was so good to me during that time because I didn't even have a lot of energy to talk to him. I didn't hardly talk to anybody. I
Yeah.
was tired. I didn't feel good. But I remember when I still had my job, I was talking to one of the chaplains about it. And
Hmm.
I was like, I feel blocked. I'm like, I want to talk to God, but I'm upset. And I don't know what to say. And she's like, God's your father, right? And I
Uh-huh.
was like, well, yeah. She's like, so don't you tell your own father you're upset with him? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'll tell him, And she's
Right.
like, don't you think God knows that you're mad at him? And I was like, oh, I can tell him that? She's like, Yeah, she's like, "He already knows." And that was just, like, change for me because I guess I just always felt like, "I shouldn't say that to God," Like, "I
Right.
can't say that. I can't tell you I'm mad at you," you know? So that, like, changed it for me, and that kinda helped me get past that block. I still run into it. It's kind of a natural thing that I do. Like, when I am going through something, I tend to kinda, like, repress or shut down a little
Mhm.
bit. So that's something I pray about with God all the time, but yeah, when I was angry, I felt like I had no words. Like, I
Right.
wanted to connect, but I didn't know what to say.
Right.
So, I'm glad I, like, ran into her and she said that to me 'cause it was, like, changed me. Because
Right.
once I actually told him I was mad at him, I feel like it was so much easier from there, you
Right.
know? I think sometimes God just, like, needs to know how you feel.
Right.
Maybe he wants you to tell him.
Probably. I mean, if you think about it, it's like a relationship. Like,
Mhm.
like you can't, like, if you're married or even have friends or something, and stuff, it's like you can't, if you're pissed at someone,
You
it's
gotta tell him so you
you
can move
got
past it.
right to get past it. And I think it's honestly, yeah, the Lord knows, but I think He also does it for us because it's that like surrendering that, like, there is something like us to identify that there is a hardship we are dealing with and that we need Him
Yep.
in this.
Yeah.
But it takes, I mean, like, it takes us having, I know, because there'll be sometimes I'm like, God knows why I have to tell him, but it always reminds me, I always think of just like, we're supposed to be in a relationship, like, it's supposed to be the same with like how you're in a relationship with someone else. Like, yes, he knows, but he wants you to also tell him because that also benefits you.
Well, and it's like the vulnerability piece.
Right.
And a lot of people have issues being vulnerable, but
Right.
like vulnerability, a lot of times, yeah, it can get us hurt, but it also can deepen relationships,
Right.
deepen bonds. And for me, finally being vulnerable with God it changed. It was a changer for me.
Hmm.
So now I'm always like, now I talk to God in the car. I'm
Right.
just like all the time, like, yeah,
Right.
I keep it real. And it's so much easier for me. I think just growing up Catholic, I felt like prayer was such a formal thing.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I knew how to do it. And
Right.
so that's why I think I was like, "Oh, you don't talk to God that way." Like, you know
Right.
what I
You were
mean?
like, oh my, what is it?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, you don't do that.
Right.
And then also there was the thing of like, I think talking to God directly was very foreign because, you when you're Catholic, you go through the priest,
Yeah.
like to tell him, and that just never resonated with me. So I'd
Right.
always make up stuff when they'd make me go to confession. I'd be like,
No,
"Oh,
you did
yeah, I
not.
did." I was like, "I was mean to my brother last week." Like, I never said anything of value. So I'm like, "Why can't I just tell God? I don't want to tell you."
Right.
You know? So then when I went to Traders and kind of just saw like how other people were, I was like, "Well, I'm
Right.
gonna give this a try." Like, everybody's really joyful in here.
Well, good.
Yeah, everybody's joyful, and when I started listening to the messages, like the
Hmm.
preaching, I'm like, wow, like I'm really moved by this.
Right.
I want to come back.
Right.
Yeah. So,
That's good. Well, I'm glad church did that for you.
oh
It did.
yeah,
I
church
mean, it
is.
did for me too. But I think also something I feel like people, because you hit on it with like, surrendering people makes them feel weak. But like the thing is, I feel like the surrendering is what gives you the wisdom. Because when you surrender it, then you see like once you surrender it, God gives you that understanding that only comes from like God and stuff. And you get that wisdom from it. So like
Yeah,
I think people see surrendering as being weak, but it's completely opposite. Because when you
yeah,
don't surrender stuff, we've all been around people that have a chip on their shoulder, and you're like, "Dude, you are silly. You're foolish."
yeah.
Like,
You need to give that to God.
right? Give it to God, and trust me. Let me just let you know, you're gonna be a lot more peaceful, and there's gonna be joy,
Hmm.
and you don't have to carry it because
Yeah,
that stuff gets
it's
real heavy,
heavy,
right?
so heavy. Yeah.
It's so heavy, and you
Hmm.
bring it into everything you encounter. Like, it's like a lens if you don't give it up. Like, then
Yeah.
you see everything through this hurt, through, like, just the stuff you're going through.
Hmm.
But then when you give it up, it's like you have so much better, clear vision.
Yeah. And I think also like sometimes we need help like processing that, even giving it to God. Like I
Right?
feel like in the past couple months, God wanted me to go back to therapy.
Yeah.
I kind of gave it a break during Rooted. I was like, I don't want to emotionally overload. Like I think I can only do one at a time.
Hmm.
So I told my therapist, I was like, I'm gonna take a break, dedicate to Rooted. And that's what I did. And I was like, I'll be back when I'm ready. And she's like, okay, I hope I see you again. And then I don't know. I was just, the more I talked to God, I really felt like he was pushing me to go back and kind of
Hmm.
process some of that stuff. Um, and I think because I have God like by my side and more faith based, I think I'm going to be more successful.
Oh, yeah. No, I would definitely say, because I feel like people always, like, Christians always go back and forth with therapy, but I feel like therapy also helps you unlock strongholds that you didn't know you had. And
Mhm.
then now you can give it to the Lord. You don't have to just like Because before, I feel like when I went to therapy and I wasn't fully in relation with the Lord,
Yeah.
like I would unlock these and then I would like think about it. And then like, because we've all known someone who goes to therapy, but still feels like you're like, dude, you need therapy. Like you've been in therapy your whole life, but you still are messy and stuff. Because I think therapy can also not be good because it helps you become too dwelling on yourself and you don't see the outside.
Yeah.
Where I feel like when you're a Christian, you go to therapy, it's like it unlocks a stronghold that the Lord, the Lord gave this person a gift that helps you work through this. And then you can give whatever you just unpacked to the Lord.
And I know, like, my therapist is very rooted in Christ as
Mhm.
well, so I think that's important too.
Oh,
you know?
100%.
Yeah,
'Cause
they've
these
got to be
people,
rooted because if you're gonna have somebody like potentially directing you, like processing, it
right?
needs to be somebody that same values. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Same faith. Even if they're like they don't necessarily have to be a quote unquote Christian, but you know what I mean? They need
yeah.
to like they could be Catholic or whatever, but they need to be rooted in Christ.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Because otherwise, people will be telling you. I mean, plus, therapy is such a vulnerable, like,
Intimate
time.
space.
It is. And I feel like sometimes you'll hear other therapists or people that go to therapy and they kind of like go by whatever whatever the therapist believes, that's what they're going to be teaching. So if you have a therapist who isn't, like a Christ follower, then it's like, where are they getting their stuff from? They're getting it from the world. So it's going to help for a little bit, but then it's not going to help. There's always going to be that struggle.
Yeah, it's unfortunate
I know,
because some
right?
people get like taken advantage of. I
They
mean,
do, and
it's
it's true, and that's
yeah,
what I mean, but I feel like in therapy, it's like you have to, like it's not like one person's you sometimes have to shop around with therapists.
oh
You have to
yeah,
find, especially with stuff you have to unpack, you have
mhm,
to feel, like, comfortable. You have to feel safe
yeah,
in that space.
yeah, yep,
Yeah. Concur.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you cracked up. All right, we gotta wind down, unfortunately, because I could chat. We could go on so many different
yeah.
areas. But do you have anything to say to people or anything that's been on your heart?
Um,
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
no, it's fine. I think just like if for anybody who's maybe like doubting or kind of questioning like why they're going through what they're going through, like I think there's also a piece with following God that's discipline.
Hmm.
It takes discipline to get up and go to church even when you don't feel like it. It takes discipline to stop what you're doing in prayer. Like following God is discipline. And I think like just stay the course with it and like just see how your life unfolds. Cause like when I mentioned to you about how I lost my job during chemo, I had a new job in a month. That's how
Wow.
God works. I immediately, I think I was on unemployment for 3 weeks. I had interview, and got hired. Was back at work June 24th.
All right.
So it's like if you just trust him, even in horrible times, like you'll see, you know,
All right.
just have to stay patient in that waiting. And sometimes you may go through seasons. Like I said, I had one that lasted like 3 years of just bad times, but God will come through.
Hmm. I think that's a word, Sage. That is a word. All right. Thank you guys so much.